Hi everyone, so glad you're back with me. This project was supposed to finish sooner, but I had some material problems, so it took a while. I had a box full of old butterflies and wanted to do more with it, so why not make a butterfly fairy? I chose a doll with big eyes, and it's a gin of fire long doll again. Going through them fast now, only one left. But I also had her second pair of arms I needed for this project, so here we are. I also chose some little butterflies to accompany my fairy. I didn't like their shape, so I cut them a bit. As always, prepping the head by cutting the hair as short as possible. Put her in hot water for a minute. And scraped all the glue and hair out. Carefully, it's still hot. There was a lot of glue, yucky. I removed her face paint with acetone and used the old acetone water mixture. But after this I made new. This didn't work so well anymore. I left her there for 2 days. I made some petals from air drying clay. Wasn't happy with them. Apparently I rushed into making them. I have to see later if I can use them. So a butterfly has 6 legs, so she needs 2 more limbs. I cut some holes under the armpits and with a wire attached to both arms, I glued them in place. As my girl was still soaking, I started with her wings and all her little butterflies. I gave them all glitter and gemstones and mica powder with layer of UV resin. The biggest wings I got were for my girl. Coincidental, it was a blue one, so I based my decisions to make her at least a bit bluish on that fact. And I knew I wanted her on a flower, hence the big flower petals I made. And in the Netherlands we have a plant or bush that's called a vlinderstruik, a butterfly bush. So I wanted something like that. I had a lot of tiny flowers left over from a previous project and I thought that was perfect. Yeah, it was my flower fairy, of course. I wasn't gonna make all those 1,000 tiny flowers myself. I'm not crazy. But how I was gonna do it, I had no idea at this point. So I tried a few things. I drilled tiny holes in them and glued them on pieces of wire. And glued a few together. That was nice, but I could not figure out how to do a whole flower like that. There will be too much wire on the bottom, I thought. My brains couldn't think of another way with the wire. I also tried some other types of easy flowers with flock. I made some from a cheap sponge, cut it in tiny pieces. I've been looking for ages for an old coffee grinder or something, but till now nothing to find in all the thrift stores. And paint it all with acrylics and glue them on the pieces of wire. It didn't work so well and I didn't like it at all. But maybe I could use the sponge for the flower base and glue all the little flowers on there. So I tried some more things. And sometimes you just have to take some distance and take a break. So I made a bunch of flower sets with different types of glue. Not sure yet which glue is the best here. And I tried a few techniques for leaves with my homemade simple clay, only the white glue and baking soda in proportion so it's easy to handle. I'm just winging it as always. Oh yeah, my first try of a butterfly flower with the sponge, the flock, and started to glue all the little flower sets. Oh yeah, the base was made from a simple cardboard box covered in baking soda mixture with gesso and it became very sturdy. And yeah, at this point I realized I didn't have enough little flowers. And no, I really wasn't going to make them. So I ordered more and I had to wait a long time for it. And that is the part of the reason my centaur was finished sooner than this butterfly. I didn't like the flower so far. It had to go. I tried some EVA foam as the flower base. And when I glued the flower bunches on there, I thought that would be okay. I hope. And as with my centaur, I used a lot of baking soda. It's so easy in my opinion. I also make the big leaves with the EVA foam. I use different thicknesses just to get some dynamics and also to see what looks the best. And this way was a waste of time, although it looked good. After a few layers of paint mixture, I had to make new nerves on the leaves. and I tried different methods. Methods. The more baking soda you put in, the more texture you get. But it needs multiple layers to really get some structure. Time for my girl. I thought the paint mixture would be a great method to get rid of or at least scale down the scales on her body. I didn't mind them so much, but they were too obvious. So I tried a few layers of a light baking soda paint mixture. And with some sanding in between the layers. The only thing I had to watch out for is the mixture dries very fast. I had to work fast and so now and then spritz everything with water. But I was very pleased with the result. At last she got some mica powder in dark blue. It needs a few layers of mica because the MSC is making it less shiny. Now the flower cones were ready. I wasn't happy at all. My original plan was to make one cone and a bigger one. That's how I glued my fairy in place. But when I made these ones, I forgot all about it. And these cones were a lot smaller, and by the time I realized it, everything was already so far in process. I didn't want to change it again. I also wanted one color flower, hence the pink in the beginning. But my head became cloudy or something. Just seeing all the little flowers together I liked, but I wasn't thinking of the whole, all together. Will it be okay? And when they were finished, I found them so boring. So I made 1,000 little pieces of wire with resin drops at the end. I hoped it will become a bit interesting altogether. Like dewdrops or like the nectar of the flowers. Back to my girl. I rerouted her head, but only the outer two rows. The middle I glued on. I saw this technique elsewhere, but I can't remember who it was. I think it was Lady Dynamite Creates? Yeah, I think that was she. At the start of this project I didn't know which colors I would use, but now I already use the black and blue for her body and her hair, so I think the rest, all the gold, should be blue as well. And I did that all with acrylics in a few watered down layers. And then I realized she is a butterfly fairy. And butterflies have somewhat of a long body or a long behind. So I gave her a bigger booty made from a few layers of EVA foam pieces. And of course it got a few layers of the paint mixture. Her face up I did mostly off camera. You know by now I'm not very comfortable doing that and still not very good at it, so nothing to learn from me still. I made her look down, at least I tried to, and I gave her some eyelashes with some drops of resin at the end. I put 2 holes in her forehead for her antennas, glued her head in position and touched up the transition. All the blue parts also got some mica powder treatment. I gave her butt and later also her back some fluff made from cut up yarn into tiny pieces. And when it dried, I removed all the excess fluff. Time for her wings. I attached them with UV resin. And time for her hair. I had no idea what to do with it. Only the two curls on the side of her cheeks I wanted to do. And for some reason I wanted her to have bangs. Oh, never again. Oh my god. That came out so ugly and I don't know how to fix it. For now I'll just leave it. The rest of her hair got some sort of simple bun with some tiny spikes of hair coming out. All the butterflies got some legs from black wire. And with a lot of patience, they all got magnets. All the butterflies got magnets on there, and it was a challenge to glue. As I fluffed her backside, I also fluffed all the ankles and wrists. I glued the flowers off camera. What a pain in the... that was. I didn't know how to, but in the end I glued some chopsticks in the flowers, filled them up with tin foil, made holes in the base, and with a lot of super glue and baking soda glued them on there. The one thing I forgot to do was really the most important one, gluing my fairy on the stand. My initial idea was to put her on a leaf, but was that strong enough? But I didn't like her directly on the base, so leaf it must be. I reinforced the leaf with a strong metal wire and also with a lot of super glue with baking soda, and that worked. Oh my god. And I gave the base black acrylics with blue metallics on the top. Ooh, shiny. And here's the point I realized I wasn't happy with the overall composition. The flowers were too small, or she had the wrong pose. The flowers were the wrong colors. But I had to finish her now, so I put her in her place. Gave all the other butterflies a nice place with attaching them with resin. And some final cleanup here and there. And then it's done. Maybe I will shorten her antennas sometime. They are way too long. And all pieces on their own I like very much. I just don't like how they look together. But what do you think of her? I would really love if you leave your comments down below. And hit the subscribe button if you didn't already. And maybe give this video a like. It would really help my channel if you do all of the above. I hope to see you next time.